All right, we are live. Base Nation, what's poppin'? Today, I'm going to be diving in on why I think Asian men need to be the protectors and providers of society. And I'm going to be diving in on pretty much traditional gender roles and explain why this is actually deep rooted in our biology, our culture, and even the economic systems that have evolved over time. All right. So, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Rob Based. I'm a dating and relationship coach for Asian men. I started out helping divorced fathers, but now I'm here changing my attention and focus to help Asian men because, we got it the worst out here. All right. And it's definitely not easy trying to navigate the sexual marketplace without the right information. Okay. So, buckle up, gear up. I decided to stream every day this month of December so I can create a catalog for you guys. And it's basically like a mini course, so to say. So you guys can access this whenever, but also to get caught up to speed with, pretty much all the topics and where my head is at, because I want to dive a little bit deeper on some day-to-day things so that we can all speed this all up and level up together as kind of the journey progresses. Okay, so we get up to date with all of the more modern kind of concepts of dating and such. All right, and it's all going to be for free, and all I ask is you just hit the like button on the way out. It doesn't cost you anything, um, and if you do end up getting any value out of the stream, make sure to subscribe. Okay, and tell a friend, because it's going to be word of mouth referrals that are going to help grow this channel, as some of the things I talk about on here aren't going to be algo friendly, if you guys know what I mean. All right, so if I disappear suddenly, come find me on Rumble. I'm also streaming on there as well. All right, so let's dive in, gents. This is why I think traditional gender roles are important. Okay, the idea of pink jobs and blue jobs. Okay, early human societies, all right, we were shaped due to are mere physical differences, all right, between us and the ladies. Okay, I keep saying that men and women are different. Men and on average, we're just way stronger than women. Okay, and that's why we're more suited to do the physical work and provide protection and go to war and stuff like that, right? And in contrast to our counterparts here, women often were more focused on childbirth, child rearing, and domesticated roles such as raising the children, right? This is a biological thing. Okay, and because women they become extremely vulnerable during pregnancy, it's pretty much expected for us guys to protect and provide for that woman, especially if she's having our child, right? Because when you're pregnant, you can't really do much, and in case there are like any predators or whatever, we had to come to the rescue and shield these women from danger. Okay, and so these roles have pretty much helped society survive and evolve into what we have become in the modern day. It definitely depended on cooperation from both men and women. Okay. Even in early agricultural societies, like men, we typically hunted, we fished, we engaged in warfare and all that stuff. And, while women stayed at home, they tended to the children, and then they would occasionally go out and gather berries and whatever, and plants and vegetables, right? But they mainly stayed at home. And as societies transitioned into more structured systems, uh, our roles became even more defined, right? As we started institutionalizing our roles, meaning we would build armies around this, right? Police or whatever that are in charge of our societies and stuff, which meant that men, we were in charge. Okay, things were heavily patriarchal in that sense. Okay, because I mean, if we're responsible for the safety and well-being of a country, nation, or society or whatever, then we should be granted the authority and power over women, right? And even though women's roles were valuable to society, they were mainly seen as kind of like, subordinate to men. And even things like marriage, when they became a thing, right? That contract became solidified even more so, and a man and a woman's roles were pretty much defined in religious doctrines, laws, right? They all emphasize this sort of biological phenomenon, if you would categorize that as that, right? And I would say like a lot of Judeo-Christian theologies played a significant role, making things clear for what men should be in charge of and what women should be doing, right? And I would also argue that these expectations were also outlined in Islam too, all right, where it was the husband's duty to protect and provide for his wife and children, okay? So, as things progressed, obviously, when we entered post agricultural civilization, right? Men would often go work in factories, offices, businesses, while women still stayed at home and they were relegated to like managing more of the domestic affairs at home, right? Um, so all of this dates back to prehistoric times, right? It became even more ingrained in our culture as as we moved into the modern world, right? Media, movies, literature, it depicted these dynamics even more for us, okay? Now, I would argue that these traditional ideas are now at odds in the modern era, right? As women have been fighting for gender equality or whatever that means, and they're able to work and do exactly the same things as men can do. And these roles are now being kind of blended into shared responsibilities, both in the public and private spaces, right? Like men are frowned upon if you don't go and change diapers anymore, right? So things have become more fluid, as they say, all right? And it further just blurs the lines between men and women's abilities, okay? And I could go into a number of reasons why I think, the push for gender equality has kind of put a hole in relationships, but in a nutshell, it has to do with masculinity and femininity, all right? Men have been more feminine in order for women to become more masculine. In other words, men, we just had to be less so that women can become more. And I think this is I think this is destroying relationships. As you just heard me say, it's biologically and traditionally ingrained in us to seek out these gender roles, right? Like there's a reason why in the most equal societies out there, like in Scandinavian countries, where there's the most parity in gender norms, I would say, like women still choose to avoid physical labor jobs, which creates a huge disparity in blue collar fields, right? And these women tend to, go into education, nursing, and explore social sciences as opposed to men, where we're still opting into these blue collar jobs and we seem to be dominating, STEM fields, and then we would be more, forced to go into like the army and stuff like that, right? So there's clearly still a biological difference, and women and men just we crave the polar opposite in relationships. All right, it's the natural pair. And so obviously, a man who's family minded, who wants a woman who can be in her feminine role and take care of those things, while, women still crave men who can lead, protect, and provide in case, she gets pregnant and can't take care of herself as much, right? Her focus has to be shifted into raising children, which is a selfless job. And so I would argue that modernity has kind of pushed us further from what we are naturally put on this earth to do. And I'm not going to put on my tinfoil hat just yet. All right. That's for future streams. But for now, let's just think about this idea for now. Okay. And let's put a bookmark in here so we can continue on with the topic on a future stream. But we need to be thinking about these things. All right. We can't keep believing in the blank slate and that men and women are equal and that we are the same. Just like we weren't put on this earth to bear children, women weren't put on this earth to go fight wars. And this is why women have this innate sense to seek out leaders, protectors, providers. And I truly think in order for a family to function at its highest, men need to be the leaders of that relationship and be in charge of the things that men were originally put on this earth to do. And a woman who doesn't want to fall into that frame, she isn't fit for marriage and a family. I would argue she belongs to the streets, okay? So the streets she will stay. don't try and save these girls either. They're cooked. All right. A lot of these modern women are mentally ill. They've confused themselves with being men and being able to do whatever men can do. And it's causing them a great deal of pain and loneliness. If you look at, you know, the numbers, you would see that a lot of women over 40 are taking medication, okay, for these mental illnesses. And so men aren't men anymore and women aren't being women anymore. And it's kind of sad to see. So it's time to wake up, all right, and follow the path that's kind of been put forth since centuries and centuries ago, right? Like this stuff has been inside of us for eons, okay? And we were put on this earth for certain reasons, all right? So we can't forget our duties, all right? All right, ninjas. I don't really want to go into too much of this. I mean, I pretty much outlined why, biological economic structures have, ingrained us to believe in traditional gender norms, and the idea of pink and blue jobs were a thing centuries ago. And it's only until now that, we've kind of broken free from all of that. And it's definitely messed up relationships. Things have been a lot harder to do as these gender norms have been kind of like, put forth and been more fluid. All right. So like I said, I don't like in these streams, my goal isn't to inundate you with all this information. My goal is to just bring this into your awareness so you can just start thinking about this on a deeper level when you're out there, just observing, let's say, okay? Or when you think about, your past relationships or even relationships that you're in right now, okay? Or other people's relationships. You can kind of see like, why certain people are having problems in their relationships. Well, you know, I would argue it's a lot has to do with men not being men and women not being women. All right. So I hope you guys got some value out of this stream. And if you did, make sure to hit that like button on the way out, subscribe, tell a friend, all that stuff. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to be streaming every single day this month. All right. We have, what is it? Like about 11 more days left. No, 12. We got 12 days left. All right. 12 more streams. And then in the new year, I plan to do different types of content, still based around dating and relationships for Asian men, but I want to bring in real life topics, real life scenarios that happen right now that I can react to and kind of tie them back to intersexual dynamics so that we can think about these things in the right way. But also, it weeds out the types of girls that aren't fit for long-term relationships, okay? And you start to bring into your awareness what types of girls are meant for those relationships so you can focus your time, energy, and attention on those women as opposed to the ones who belong to the streets, like I said, all right? And so this is why I want to slowly ease this type of information into your awareness so that you guys can obviously make the best choices for yourself. I always say that one of the biggest things that a man has to decide on is who he lays down with, is as one girl can totally mess up your life. All right. Trust me, I've been there. So that's all I got. And I will see you guys back here, same bad time, same bad channel, raw based, signing off. Peace out, ninjas.